Hey everyone! Today's bar bits video was inspired by this bar from Mission Chocolate out of Brazil. It is called Three Theos. Now, what are the Three Theos? So the Three Theos are three of the trees that are edible in the genus Theobroma. So Theobroma has more species than that in it. I think like 22, 23, 24, 25, somewhere around there. But three of them are the ones that people eat. So the first one is Theobroma Cacao, which you're familiar with. The second one is Theobroma Grandiflorum, which if you're in Brazil, you probably call by a different name, and Theobroma Bicolor. So I'm going to talk about each one, give you a quick little botanical monograph on it, show you some pictures, and talk about the bar a little bit. So, okay, let's go. So let's start with the one that we know, Theobroma Cacao. Here's the tree. You know the fruits. It was first named by Linnaeus. If you ever see the botanical name, it will have an L after it. That means it was named by Carl Linnaeus in his Species Plantarum in 1753. Native to South and Central America, can grow to be 4 to 10 meters. Grows a little bit higher in the wild because we like to prune it so that we can reach the fruit. Its fruits grow, it's an understory tree, which means it grows in the lower layers of the rainforest. And it's evergreen, always has its leaves, and its growing area is, you always hear 20 degrees north, 20 degrees south. It can stretch that a little bit. Hawaii stretches that a little bit. Some other places stretch that a little bit, but let's say 2020. The fruit, as you can see, grows on off of the larger branches or the main trunk. But first, let me show you a picture of the flower and the fruit. So here's the flower and the fruit. They're about the size of your thumbnail, each flower. They're really tiny flowers. They're pollinated by a midge, also a very tiny insect to get in there. Really tiny. They're a 5-part flower, and this is also reflected in the fruit. If you were to cross-section it, you would see that it is also in 5 parts. It is what's called I have trouble with this word. Cauliflorous or cauliflorous growth, which means it grows off of that pad, off of the central trunk, a bunch springing out from the same area. Fruit is football shaped. This one is a real dried fruit. You can hear those cocoa beans, which aren't really beans inside. Seeds, cocoa seeds, let's call them. Some people will say that this fruit is a drupe. Some will say it's bacate-like, which means berry-like. I don't think there's a consensus. I lean towards berry-like for several botanical reasons. Not so much a drupe, but that's my opinion. It is what's called indehiscent, and it doesn't fall from the tree. So when it is mature, it stays on the tree. Indehiscent means that it doesn't open and spread its seeds. So that is the cacao flower and the cacao fruit of Theobroma Cacao. So that's our first Theo. Let's talk about our second Theo. So let's go to Theobroma Grandiflorum. This is the only good picture that I could find. This is an experimental tree, so it may be a little bit shorter than normal trees. You can see the Grandiflorum is a little bit different because the leaves have a different shape. They're not pointed on the end, they're rounded on the end. So Theobroma Grandiflorum was first named in 1886 when two guys published the Flora Brasiliensis, Wildenau and Sprengel. They published, it was like a comprehensive look of the flora of the Brazil area. It can grow to be 18 meters high in the wild. It is native to South America, specifically Brazil area. What else do I want to tell you about the tree? Okay, so in Brazil, it's often eaten as a food called cupuacu, spelled in a variety of ways. They eat it dry, they eat it in juice. It has very high cocoa butter content, so you may have seen it in like your chapstick or your cosmetics. It will list Theobroma Grandiflorum butter. So here's the flower and here's the fruit. You can see the flower is kind of similar to Theobroma Cacao in its shape, with the interesting anthers and stamens and pistils in there, and the unique floral shape. Does still have 5 parts. The fruit looks a little bit different though. It's brown, no ridges on it. It is oblong shape, so it looks a little bit different. And the other thing that's different about this is when the fruit is mature, it falls to the ground. And that's kind of dangerous if you're around a grandiflorum tree. It can bonk you on the head and cause serious problems, like coconuts do. Okay, so let's go to the last Theo. Let's go to Theo Bicolor. You'll see this tree can get a little bit taller than the other 2 Theos. So this one was first named in, I don't know exactly when, but I do know it was in a plant monograph series that was put out between 1806 and 1807. I don't know which one exactly it is in. I didn't look that up. By Humboldt and Bonpland. Alexandre Humboldt is a pretty famous biologist. He has a really interesting biography if you want to look him up. But they were the ones that first named it with a European name. It can grow up to 30 meters in height. It's native to Central and South America. Its flowers grow higher up on the tree. The fruit is also higher up on the tree. And what I love about bicolor, so I'll put a picture here of the flowers and the fruit, is the fruit is super cool looking. The flowers, take a look, they kind of look like the other 2, right? They've got the 5 part, they have the general kind of look of it. That's why they're all in the same genus. But the fruit is super cool. Look at that reticulated furrows in there. So the fruit falls to the ground like grandiflorum, unlike cacao. And when it is ripe, it turns from green to a yellow-brown color. Bicolor is low in theobromine, but high in cocoa butter fats. So same kind of cocoa butter content as grandiflorum, but much lower theobromine content than cacao. It goes by a whole bunch of names. Off the top of my head, or just a brief scan, I found like 15 different names. So Pataxte, I'm not sure how to say it because there's a million different spellings of that kind of word. Then there's cacao, blanco, balum, scarbo, carvu, macambo, jaguar cacao. There's just this whole list of names that bicolor goes by. So the if you've ever had, so here's a bar that has bicolor in it, the White Jaguar from PrimoBotanica, but I've also had a Jaguar cacao from Chocolate Naive out of Lithuania, and Monarch chocolate out of Quebec, Canada. And then there's this other Brazilian maker that I've had that has Theobroma Grandiflorum in it, which is the Cupuacu down here. Sometimes it's spelled with an SSU on the end because that C with the squiggle makes this sound. So this one has 2. This one has 2. But here we have the 3 Theos. So the mission one, she's combined the 3 Theos. And let me just open this up and we'll take a look at it quick. I'm not going to flip the camera around because it's just not, I'm not going to taste it today. I'm just going to show you guys. But I really enjoy I have to say the Luisa Abram one is one of my favorite ones. So in this Theobroma, the Three Theos from Mission, she has, okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get settled here. So here's what it looks like. So the first Theo is the cacao, which you know, the dark chocolate. The second Theo is the Cupuacu, which kind of looks like this honeycomb stuff. This is the dried Theobroma Grandiflorum. And the third one is the candied Bicolor seeds. Those are really interesting to eat plain. In the PrimoBotanica bar, they put it in roasted, and it's really nice. I like this bar too. These are really nice bars. I like the bars that have the extra Theos in them. So that's the Three Theos. Here's, I'll put one up so you can look at all of them at once, and you can see, you can compare the flowers to see why they might all be in the same genus of Theobroma. The fruits all look a little different, but they also all kind of look the same, which is super interesting. So that's where the Three Theos come from. If you ever have a chance to try a chocolate bar with an extra Theo or made with a different Theo, try it, because it's cool and they taste good and it's a lot of fun to try new things. So that's my bar bits video today. If you have questions about the Three Theos, ask me a botany question, ask me what they taste like. They're really cool. And leave me a comment to let me know what you think about the flowers or whatever. I love hearing from you guys. And that's it for today, I guess. I hope that you will subscribe so that we can hang out every Thursday and talk about something else having to do with chocolate. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.